is ranking good? To why this form of expression of national identity is particularly important. Let's move on to the first question in the space. Is ranking good? Their assertion is it's immoral to make hierarchy among culture and nationality. It's immoral to introduce a sense of competition. We believe that is the most effective way to promote understanding of diversity, and that's the only way to drastically change the ways in which people perceive differences of culture for 5 reasons. First of all, the sense of competition and ranking mobilizes people, gives incentive to people to actually take part in the process, unlike watching documentary or reading objective magazines and editorials and so forth. That is exactly why for supporting the rugby or team sports, anybody, regardless of age, gender, take part in the process of supporting their representative. That's how the understanding of culture and nationality is facilitated. Therefore, this is the most inclusive platform and the lowest entry barrier for vast majority of individuals who are not currently interested in this kind of issue at all. Secondly, the sense of competition promotes the arrangement of the costume. For example, in some traditional costumes, there are some parts that are disadvantageous for women because of many restrictions for disability mobility. That kind of design is rearranged for the universal design, and that kind of revolution is uniquely happening because of the sense of competition, and a representative have to get a higher position or higher ranking inside the contest. And that kind of revolutionary arrangement is only a way in which this sort of issue related to the costume, issue related to country's background is elucidated or highlighted in the global sphere. And this is important. The nature of international beauty contests is they have a lot of sponsorship. There are a lot of media coverages that is likely that minorities cultures who do have kind of resources are likely to be resonated with or are broadcasted through TV to a lot of people globally. And this is why we believe this kind of ranking is effective to enhance this kind of mechanism of participation and the viewer watching. Thirdly, I will take you later about subconscious bias about judges. Judges already have bias already in the status quo. Therefore, our solution is to elucidate the costume in many attractive way so that we can remove the kind of biases the judge already have. If we showcase or exhibit costumes in an attractive manner or in an inclusive manner, that's the chance in which maybe judges can identify their preconception and remove it. For example, the representative for Venezuela consistently win the beauty contest in a status quo. What happened? Backlash? No. There are many interracial individuals in Venezuela, and the minority cultures in Venezuela were actually highlighted and acknowledged and gained a social reputation. And that's a consequence of the interracial representative of Venezuela consistently winning the tournament and the contest. Also, judges' bias will have been gradually removed. Initially, the judges may have a negative perception about minority groups within Venezuela, but because of this victory or consistent exposure of different culture, that gets diluted, and that's the mechanism by which we can remove the subconscious biases that already have in the status quo. Therefore, backlash is very less likely to happen. No, thank you. Fourthly, I will take you from closing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So it's such a Western privileged outlook to assume that all countries have a national costume. Many countries have a history of tribal conflict, which means their national identity is fractured. So many people in that country will feel not just unrepresented, but offended when they're told this is the national costume of your enemy tribe.
No, that's our fourth counter-analysis. Yes, we believe that the conflicts or rankings have been already happening in many different spheres, like politics, or economics, or international relationship, and diplomacy, and so on. Costume is the most easiest barrier, easiest option for this small and medium-sized country to enter and enjoy competition. For other spheres of ranking, for other spheres of international evaluation, like economic growth, or stage of development, or GDP growth, it's very difficult for these big countries and small and medium-sized countries to compete against large countries or the G5 or P5. The costume, the exhibition of design is a very inclusive way, an inclusive mechanism. Because the process of the international beauty contest is very accurate and transparent. The selection process is transparent. Audience can cast a vote for your favorite costume, for example. That kind of participation process is much more accountable and transparent for these kinds of developed countries compared to any other platforms that they talked about in their speech. Finally, about the principle justification against creating moral hierarchy. We believe it is justified to create moral hierarchy when the introduction of commercialization and a market mechanism is more efficient to achieve the goal. Let's make a trade-off. The consistency of moral hierarchy or moral consistency creates nothing completely. It just principally sounds nice but rhetorically actually empty. Versus what we're trying to achieve is an understanding of diverse cultures. That's more tangible benefit. That's why when the World Heritage is registered by the UNESCO, that creates ranking, but the system of World Heritage promotes the diverse understanding and comprehension of diverse cultures. In order to achieve a political objective, introduction of commercialization or market efficiency is justified, and there is no meaning to adhere to the moral consistency of cultural differences, and that's our counter principle. No, thank you. Finally, about the points about representation and expression of identity. Ladies and gentlemen, expression and speech of identity should be respected, and particularly wearing a uniform played a role of unification and the symbolization of the national identity. That's why this rights is particularly important. Let me analyze this from three perspectives. First of all, the nature of international beauty contest. The nature of international beauty contest is it promotes inclusivity and diversity and promotes understanding of multiculturalism. Therefore, it is critically important for those contests to create a narrative that the representative of each nation can freely express their national public identity in as many forms as possible. Therefore, the imposition of restriction is against the purpose of international beauty contest. Second, about visibility and economy of a picture. Just like a sport team, when the representative wear the actual visible uniform, visible symbolic natures, it's easier for everybody to recognize the unification of their identity. That is why, even teenagers or children or poor people who have less access to education, all these people are able to be included in the process of unification, of supporting national identity, rather than spreading a conceptual theory about the nationalism. Therefore, we believe visualization is particularly important to resonate with as many people as possible and a wider range of people as possible. Finally, the sense of competition reinforces the unification and the sense of belonging. Just like you support your team for the World Cup or Olympic or rugby tonight, this kind of the competition gives unique incentive and enthusiasm for people who are not currently interested in these kind of things to pay attention to that process and actually take part in the representation process of the international beauty contest. And this is a particularly important form of education. We are happy to oppose. Thank you.